Hey, this is Artie Aster from B Sharp and C. So it's a Saturday, and I have a few episodes in my queue to be released as premieres. I think until next Thursday, something like that. I don't really remember what. Um, but I wanted to do something very random because music is by no means for a select few. You know, there are people all over this world, from the North Pole to the South Pole, all over from the east to the west, that enjoy music. And I wanted to do something random because I think that the random videos really show just how much it's easy nowadays to pick up an instrument and play it and then have something to play along to. And what I'm going to do is probably no one has ever heard of this guy. What's his name? Excuse me. His name is Dimitris Loisos. He is from, let me just pull it up here so you all can see it. My good, I'm going to subscribe right now. I'm sorry about my throat. Um, he's got 36,000 subscribers. And his description here is this is a deep, expressive guitar jam over a C minor blues backing track played on my Gibson Les Paul 60. It's a 1960. It's a Les Paul from the 60s. And then he says, "Excuse me a second." And then he says, "I focused on phrasing, storytelling. Yes, storytelling with just notes that you're playing, right? And dynamics, letting each note breathe." That is just perfectly worded. I couldn't say that better myself. Blues guitar is not about just completely shredding and going hog wild nuts, leaving the audience scratching their head like, what did I just listen to? In fact, when Gary Moore got into the blues, I believe it was Albert King, right? Who told him, would you just slow down? Slow it down. Let the notes breathe, like Demetrius says it right here. Letting each note breathe. Beautifully put. I've never heard it put just quite like that. And I think it's great. Um, he got this slow backing track, Joe Bonamassa style, from the channel Now You Shred backing tracks. And it's funny because the name of the channel is Now You Shred, but some of the backing tracks on this channel are not really shredding backing tracks. Like a slow blues, you kind of don't want to shred. You want to do what Demetrius said. You want to tell a story. That's what he does here. I have not heard this playing just yet. But I stopped on it because he uploaded it this year, February 20th. It's already got 1.5 million views. So I'm just going to go ahead and just listen to it. And I want you to listen to it with me. And then I'm just going to post it unedited. Yes, the coughing is going to be in there and me clearing my throat every 4 seconds. Anyways, let's listen. Ooh, this is nice. I love that type of bend that he just did right there. He bends it up, but he bends it like 3 times. Mm, nice. Finishes a lick, and I believe he just finished it right there on the flat three. Hold on. Yeah, I did a half bend on the flat three. Perfect. Mm-hmm. Nice. You know, he does. So he's focusing a lot on a couple of different positions. A position one, and I think that last bend was position three or four. I think. Yeah, position four. So if you're learning guitar and you do those box positions, with position four and position one, I believe it's position four where the flat three is on the B string, the high B string. You know, it's funny because, well, there's only one B string, but it's funny because those two positions are a lot of guitar players' favorites. They're very versatile. You can do a lot within them. And it's nice to kind of play a lot out of those, leave them, come back. But you can see what he's doing. It's really, really good. Really, really, really expressive. And you notice none of what he's doing is super fast because he's trying to talk to us with the melodies and those half bends that he does, especially when he bends the flat three at the end of at the end of a phrase. Super common blues thing to do, but it's almost like the punctuation or an exclamation point at the end of a phrase. Really, really nice. Mm-hmm. Oh! Now I don't know because I don't have my guitar in front of me, but I don't know what notes of the scale that was. If he was bending up to like the a five. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Let me see if I can hear it in my head. I believe he was bending up to the five and then went to the flat seven and bent up to the one. No, he bent up to the flat seven. So I believe he was bending to the four and then bent up to the flat seven. Because I believe the next note after that is the one. You can kind of hear how he's going to it. And if he bends up even more, he bends up to the one. So he's bending up to the flat seven there. Nice. Nice. So good. Nice. So he had some strings muted there. Came down. The pick hit the strings that were muted. You get like a scratching sound, and with a little bit of distortion on the guitar, you get like almost sounds like a ripping sound. All the good players do it. Literally, all the good players do it. Such a nice technique. Nice. No. Nice. I love that technique when someone starts a riff. I'm so sorry about the coughing. When someone starts a riff and they just decide I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do it a little bit differently every time. Um, at- different different way with the fingers, different way with the picking hand, different way with the fretting hand, different speeds. And then he gets quiet. Oh, you hear that double bend? Oh, I love that. And then he bent up to, I think it was the natural 7. So he bends up to the natural 7. So it's the major 5th chord, and he bends up to the natural 7. And he could have continued to bend up to, once you're at the natural 7, it's just a half step more, and then you're at the root note, but instead of doing that, which is kind of leads us to believe he was about to do, he did a different type of riff. And then instead of bending, he went da, 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 right? So he decided to do something different from what the listener was expecting that he would do. So it's nice. He kind of led us down a road, made us think that this is how he's going to finish that lick, or how he's going to resolve that lick, and then decides to completely finish it differently. And with different timing as well, dun, 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 which you didn't expect. That root note came in a little late. Um, beautiful, beautiful phrasing, beautiful phrasing. Nice. Nice. Nice rake. Little dissonance right there. What note was that? Might have just simply been so it's one of those things that I've done this a million times. You hit a note, you don't exactly know if that note is the note you wanted to hit, and he lets it ring out and then resolves, plays. I don't know exactly what note that was. Bam, bom. It might have been. I don't know if it was the flat 6, bam, bom. Might have been the flat 6, and it was just not over the 4 chord. He's taking his time now. Oh yeah, doing some finger picking work with the right hand. Nice. He never resolves a phrase the way I think he's going to resolve a phrase, and I love that. And he usually lengthens the phrase a little bit longer than what I expect should be. You know, he likes to end phrases late after the downbeat. You know, on that one. Well, back to the first measure. You know, if we're doing 12 bar blues, the downbeat comes and he likes to kind of finish it after. So it should have been. I mean, and I say should have been. You know, I'm not saying he's not playing it right. You know, none of what I'm saying, none of what I've said, even when he hit that note that I wasn't too sure it was a little dissonant. I didn't know what it was. None of it is a criticism. You know, when you play the guitar, when you express yourself. Here's the dude kind of just you know, improvising. He's literally just improvising, making this up for 5 almost 6 minutes over these chord progressions. Um you 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 just you have an arsenal. You have tools that you want to use when it comes to mechanics and everything else, notes that you want to play, ways that you want to play them. And on the guitar, there's 1,000,007 ways that you can play a note, and you can play three notes like 1 2 flat 3, right? You can play those three notes, 1 2 flat 3, probably 500 different ways, you know, with a pick, without a pick. You can slide from the 1 to the 2, you can bend from the 2 to the flat 3, right? There's so much you can do. There's hundreds of options to play just three different notes, you know. So he has all of this in front of him. It's his like vocabulary, for lack of a better term, right? And he's just throwing it out there. And when I am improvising and I play a note that I realize might be a little dissonant, you know, I like to do what this guy did. Take your time and then think of where the best place to go is. And dissonant notes are just that. They're just dissonant. They're a little dissonant. But if you resolve them, which he did, then all of a sudden they're not dissonant. And there's nothing wrong if you hit a dissonant note. There's nothing wrong with digging in and um, you know, maybe even letting it ring out longer. You know, I know Prince, when Prince did a lot of his improvising, what he would do is if he played a riff and then there was a couple dissonant notes in there, and then he was like, I wish I didn't play that note, or I wish I didn't necessarily play it that way. He would do it two times more. But then on the last time, change it up and then resolve it to kind of tie it all together to make it look like that's what I meant. You know, it's just like conversation. It's there's not that much difference. Um, but listen to the downbeat when the 12th bar ends and it goes back to the first bar, right? He doesn't end the note right on the downbeat. Boom. See that? Dan 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 is what one would think, but he went dan 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 dan, and he ended it maybe like on the second beat, right, of that first measure. Once the chord progressions started back over, that doing stuff like that, it sometimes it's hard to define. It's hard to like, wow, what did he do there? Wow, look at what he did. Oh yeah. But as a listener, you just know that it's different. You know, it's an art. And you know, it's funny because you have people that speak publicly and they have the art of public speaking, and they do things and they say things that kind of gets the audience involved. You sometimes you even say things that lead the audience down a road that they're not supposed to be on. That road that you're leading them on is not the road you're going to finish on, but you're leading them down that road to keep them interested. And then when you deviate from that and finish over here instead of over here, it's like, what? And it just makes the audience more interested. And they don't always know why. And that's the same thing with improvising. And this guy is a master at it. And he gives lessons. So I want to make something clear because I'm sitting here looking at this guy, and the way, in the way, what am I doing this for? Okay, there we go. I'm sitting here looking at this guy, and I'm um, looking at all the notes he's playing and all the phrasings he's doing. But here's what's something interesting. Did he even say the word phrasing in his description? I focus on phrasing. That was the first word. Okay. I focus on phrasing, storytelling, and dynamics, letting each note breathe. Um, what we just witnessed, in my opinion, and I am not the guitar player he is. I've been playing guitar for years. I love it. But when I pick up a guitar, he is what I want to sound like. He's not necessarily what I sound like. I can play in that style, but I'm not nearly as mechanically, adept as he is. He's just fantastic, and I don't think I can play for 6 minutes without making, a gigantic mistake. I'm not really that type of guitar player. I want to be, and maybe someday I will be. I just got to continue playing. Um, but this dude was focusing on his phrasing, and you stop and analyze it. It was fantastic, fantastic, and I didn't even get. I'm not even getting into the fact that, like, when he was doing that riff over and over again, he was slowly doing it with less strength or less velocity on his right hand, right? Excuse me. Less velocity on his right hand. So that just lowers the volume level, right? So the riff that he was doing was slowly getting quieter and quieter. Um, and then of course the bending, where he would bend up to, I don't know, up to like the two, and then up to the flat three, and then a big bend. A big thing that people do is they're on the three, the flat three, and they bend up to the four, and then they bring it down and then slide up to the four, but then quickly bend back up to the five. And it's a very nice thing. He did that a couple times there. His bending is amazing. His phrasing is amazing. Everything about it was just, in my opinion, utterly fantastic. You know, and that is the type of blues soloing that I like, because it is probably the most conversational out of all the styles, of all the genres of guitar that are out there. To me, that's the most conversational, is the slow blues. I mean, Eddie Van Halen was amazing. You look at all these guitar gods over the years, all of them are amazing. Um, but I personally feel like slow blues is a conversation. The guitarist is having a conversation with people who are listening, and the conversation is so dynamic. The conversation is with non musicians. He put stuff in there so musicians and music lovers, people who analyze music, could look at it and say, oh, look at what he did there. And then, of course, he's actually conversing with himself. He's saying things. So, how people say, like, oh, he likes the sound of his own voice, type of thing. And I'm not saying that that's a negative thing. But when you're a guitar player, sometimes you say things musically, you do things musically so that you yourself can get some type of fulfillment from it. And I can guarantee you that was a very fulfilling guitar solo for this gentleman to play. Anyways, I'm not even going to edit this. I just wanted to upload a quick video. I just wanted to listen to some music, and I wanted to do it with y'all. unedited. I'm just going to shoot this right up onto YouTube. I'll put his channel down here. I'll tag him in the description. So if you click on it, it'll bring you to his channel, and he's got a ton of stuff on there. A ton of stuff, you know. Let me just go to his channel and see what it. 501 videos. I mean, he did a video 9 days ago. It's already got 6,000 views. You know, this guy's good. This guy's really good. You know. So, anyways, I'll go ahead and upload this to YouTube, and that's it. This is Artie Astor from B Sharp and C. Wait, I'm not going to edit this. So I'm going to hit stop recording as soon as I point to the camera. You ready? This is Artie Astor from B Sharp and C saying, keep it groovy.